The Pad Bank.
Hello and welcome to episode number 1 of the Pad Bank with me, Tony Brown. And I just want to welcome you all to this first episode. If you don't know what the Pad Bank is, then I'm going to tell you. Basically, it's an online forum. It's a private Facebook group with currently over 400 active members. And these are all producers, sample-based producers, beat makers, etc. All like-minded, all with an interest in sampling and beat making and production. And basically, it's a forum I set up just over a year ago, and you know, from off the back of that, this podcast has come about. So I just thought, you know what, it's about time to take this thing to the next level. So yeah, with this podcast, basically what I'm looking at doing is showcasing some of the many beats that are posted throughout the week in our Flip It challenge, which I'll tell you a bit more about shortly, and also to just talk about all things related to sampling, production, beat making. You know, we'll just basically talk about those kind of things. But yeah, welcome. It's the first episode. So the Flip It challenge. What's the Flip It challenge? If you're currently in the Pad Bank, you're a Pad Bank member, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're new to this, then the Flip It challenge is a weekly challenge where we post a new sample in the group each week, and you know, members just basically go away and work on a beat using that sample. And then that beat is posted, and group members vote on which beat is the winner. So we're currently on Flip It number 49. So in this episode number 1, what I'm going to be doing is going through and playing the submissions from Flip It number 48. So the winner's just been announced, and I know who the winner is. If you're in the group, you know who the winner is. But what I'll do, I'll just go through the submissions, play a snippet of each beat, and then I'll announce the winner. What I will say is, with the Flip It challenge, although I moderate and kind of oversee the Pad Bank forum, I don't choose the winner. You know, it's a group decision. People basically listen to all the tracks and they will vote. So yeah, it's not about me picking who wins, it's about the group picking who wins. But yeah, with this podcast, you know, what I'd love to see is eventually, you know, interviewing producers, fellow Pad Bank members, even, you know, established producers, getting people on here and interviewing them. I plan to do a members spotlight. So, you know, if you are a member of the Pad Bank, you will be given an opportunity to come forward, to be interviewed, to showcase some of your beats, to talk about your process, to talk about your experience in a production game, etc, etc. So yeah, it's not about me, it's about the group, it's about fellow producers, it's about, you know, really raising the profile of some of the great producers we've got in the Pad Bank. Listen, like I said, there's 424 members currently. I say currently, it's the 26th of January 2018, and like I said, we've got 424 members, and some of the level of production in this group, it's amazing. You know what I mean? These guys, some of them, they've been on the grind for a long time. Some of them are quite, you know, still quite new. But yo, the level of production, the level of producers, the talent in the group is amazing. You know, each week with the Flip It challenge, people post beats. I'm just like, wow, like, yo, I got to step my game up. And that's one of the reasons why I started the group. You know, it's about this group. It's not, let me say this from the offset, in terms of the Pad Bank as a group, as a forum, as a community. It's not about coming in and you know, trying to sell your latest beat tape and promote your latest beat tape. It's not about trying to sell your latest loot pack. You know, it's not about self-promotion. it's all about encouraging each other to step your game up. It's all about supporting each other, giving advice and guidance, and just helping your fellow producer sharpen his craft and be better at his game. So that's the idea with the pad bank. You're probably thinking, who am I? I've just jumped on this episode number 1 and just started talking. Like I said, my name's Tony Brown. I have got some experience in the music industry. I started DJing when I was about 14 when I started DJing. I had my first radio show on pirate radio at the age of 15. Went on to have a long run on radio. I had a Saturday morning hip hop show, then I had a Saturday evening hip hop show, then I had a Sunday evening hip hop show. And I wasn't really a radio presenter. I was more like a mixtape DJ, so I'd be cutting it up, 2 copies back to back, that kind of stuff. Also, I was a club DJ, party DJ, carnival DJ, etc., right the way through the 90s and the early 2000s. I got into production in 1995, where I got my hands on a little Dr. Rhythm drum machine and just started basically making drum patterns and drum sequences on there. And it got to the point where I basically overloaded the drum machine. It just crashed. I'd used up all the memory, and the thing just crashed on me. And it was at that point I realized, okay, I need to step up and invest in some equipment. And I bought myself an MPC 2000. And that was in 1997. I invested in MPC 2000. I paid $2,500 for it. I bought all the 8 outputs. I bought the effects module. Upgraded the memory in there. Got myself a SCSI drive, a zip drive. And for, I would say, at least 2 years, I just got my head down and I just went missing. You know what I mean? I was just so focused on learning that machine and, really perfecting my craft, finding my sound as a producer. In 1999, I released an album. It was a mix of instrumentals and vocal tracks on a label that I put together called Construction Site. So I put that out independently in 1999, and obviously I'm based in the UK. In the UK, we had a hip hop magazine called Hip Hop Connection. It was the biggest hip-hop magazine in the UK at the time, and they got hold of the album and it basically gave it 4 mics or 4 bars. At that stage, to get like 5 mics was, you were top of the game. If you got 5 mics in anything, in the Source, in Hip Hop Connection, it was certified classic. And when they reviewed it, they gave that album 4 bars or 4 mics. So, that kind of really established me as a producer, as a reputable producer. And then I went on to work with other UK artists and produce some tracks for them. And I ended up connecting with a guy called HMD, who was part of a Birmingham hip-hop group called MSI and Asylum. These guys are kind of foundation in terms of the UK hip-hop scene, not only in the Midlands, but across the UK. Very foundational. These guys, really kind of set the scene and upped the game in terms of the UK hip-hop scene. And HMD was one of the core members of that group. He left that group late 90s, early 2000s, and me and him connected, and I just basically became his exclusive producer, and we recorded about 3 albums worth of material. When I met him, I had a whole batch of beats. I had a catalogue full of beats, and meeting him, he had a catalogue full of songs. I'm talking not tracks, not bars, I'm talking songs. And we just connected, and like I said, we recorded at least 3 albums worth of material. And we really had a good stab, a good innings, and that was kind of my first real run in a major recording studio as well, because he was kind of ahead of me in terms of where he was in the industry. He had a joint venture deal with another independent record label, and they basically just give him all the studio time he wanted. So, you know, I went from being in my garage with my little MPC to now being in a fully fledged recording studio. So definitely learned a lot during that period. And that was like I said, early 2000s, between 2000 and 2001. So yeah, that's kind of my experience. After that, you know, I mean, my life kind of took a turn. I kind of moved away from the music industry, really focused on family, on my career, etc., work, and just kind of left it alone. And it was October 2016, I got myself a Akai MPC Studio Black, and just kind of got back into it, man. I really, you know, I've still had that love for chopping up samples, and just got back into it. So, and that's kind of where the pad bank come from. You know, I mean, I bought this in October, and just wanted to connect with other like-minded producers. So I started the pad bank group in the December of 2016, and really put it out there January, and just started building the forum in January. And it's just grown, like I said, to like 400 members since then. So it's been a year. And during the same period of doing that, what I started doing was recording my process of when I was making beats. You know, I mean, I got my little setup here. I can do what I need to do here. So what I used to do was just, and what I still do, is just turn the MPC on, get a sample, turn the video on, put the mic on, and just record my process. And I started posting that on YouTube. And a lot of the members in the pad bank basically discovered me and the pad bank group through those YouTube videos. That's gone on to, you know, gather over 2,000 subscribers. I've probably got about 100 and something thousand views. So yeah, you know what I mean, it's just putting stuff out there, putting content out there, all around the whole production thing. So that's a little bit about me. So let's just get into the Flip It challenge then, because you want to hear some music. I know you want to hear some beats. So like I said, the Flip It challenge, it's a weekly challenge we do here in the pad bank. We're up to Flip It 48. If you are interested in hearing the back catalogue, if you go to SoundCloud, we've got a dedicated SoundCloud for the pad bank. If you just search the pad bank in SoundCloud, and you'll find all the playlists from the first ever Flip It challenge right the way through. So there should be like 48 playlists with all the beats that have been produced and submitted. And like I said, man, listen, there's some bangers, there's some real bangers in there. So what happens is it gets posted here in the group. The sample is posted usually as a YouTube link, or as a Dropbox link, as an MP3 file, and you can just download it and start working on it. So what I'll do, I'll play you the sample first, and then after that I will play you the list of beats. So yeah, let's get into this. The pad bank. So here's a sample for this week.
Gdy zapłonął nagle świat, bezdrożami szli przez śpiący las. Równym rytmem młodych serc niespokojne dni odmierzał czas. Gdzieś pozostał ognisk dym dróg przebytych kurz, cień siwej mgły. The pad bank. Biały krzyż nie pamięta już, kto pod nim śpi. Jak myśl sprzed lat.
The pad bank. So there you go, there's a snippet of the sample. I just played 1 minute of it so you get an idea. And then what we've got here now is, how many entries did we have? We had 11 entries, and And like I said, what you'll find is some of the beats sound similar because obviously everyone's using the same sample, but you know, everyone's got their own different take on it, a different flip on it. And usually it's really hard to judge. So let's go with the first one. So the first one is his name is Ikon Music, and he's called this track Russian Mob. So let's check this out.
The pad bank.
So this is Ikon Music, Russian Mob.
The pad bank. The pad bank.
Okay.
The pad bank.
So that is Ikon Music, and what I will say as well is this is the first time for me. It's the first time listening to these beats. I haven't listened to this week's submissions yet, so yeah, man, I'm feeling this one. I have to say, I'm feeling it. I like that little synthy sound he's dropped in there as well. So yeah, man, I like this. It's kind of like it's straight. It's a straight sample. He's just basically took the sample and kind of just replayed it straight as it is. But it's nice. It sounds smooth. Clean bass line. I think I would like to hear the drums knocking a bit more, really banging. But yeah, man, I like it. I like this. So big up to Ikon Music for that one.
The pad bang.
Okay, so next up we've got I want to make sure I get this guy's name right. It's either SyXonBeatz or SyXonBeatz. His track's called White Crow. If I've killed your name, bro, forgive me. But yeah, check this one out. This is White Crow by, I think it's SyXonBeatz.
The pad bang. The pad bank. The pad bank. The pad bank. The pad bank. The pad bank.
Okay, so that was White Crow by SyXonBeatz. Another entry for this week's Flip It Challenge. What I will say about that is I'm feeling it because it sounds like something I would do. So I'm kind of biased, to be honest. You know, when you hear a beat and it kind of sounds familiar, it sounds like your type of beat. I'm feeling that. Again, I think I would like to hear the drums knocking, like really knocking a bit more. I think I'd also like to hear a bass line in there. I can't really say I heard a solid sub bass, you know, really driving. But yeah, man, I'm feeling that one. I like that. So big up to my bro there, White Crow. All right, next up we've got knightriderbeats. Now, Knightrider's been submitting for a while, and usually comes with some bangers. So I'm looking forward to hearing what he brings this week. So let's go straight into it.
The pad bank.
So this is knightriderbeats. He's just called it Flip It 48.
Bank. The pad bank.
Shout out to my man knightriderbeats for that submission. Again, it's hard, you know. It's hard to critique these beats. It's just a straight flip. I mean, listening to that again, because it's the same sample. He's kind of just chopped it up and just done a variation with the sequence. It's nice. I like it. It's nice, but it's not really jumping out like, you know what I mean? It's not really banging. It's not really like bang, really jumping out at me. But yo, it's a good beat. I can't wrong it. Nice steady bass line. Nice smooth sequence. Nice pattern. Drums are nice. So yeah, man, it's a good beat, solid beat. So yeah, big up yourself, Knightrider. Keep them coming, my brother. Keep them coming. So shout out to you. Right, next up we've got, I think this is a new member, Direct Control DC, and this beat is called Into You. Now I can't say I've heard anything from DC before, so this is quite exciting. Let's see what he brings to the table. Let's go back.
The pad bank.
So this is Direct Control DC, Into You. This is his submission of the Flip It Challenge 48.
The pad bank. The pad bank.
Okay, so like I said, that was Direct Control DC, and that track's called Into You. Now, I don't know if that's the same sample. I'm thinking to myself, is it? He's either slowed it down, like really pitched it down, and use a different vocal sample with the Into You, because the sample for the challenge is not even English. I think it's Polish or Russian. So I'm not even sure if that is the same sample, but you know, it could be something different compared to the rest of the other submissions so far. I mean, that's number 4 now, beat number 4. He's come with something different. He had that kind of low sub bass, kind of 808 bass driving in the back, very laid back. But yeah, man, it was a nice beat. Not really my style. Again, I ain't trying to be biased, you know what I mean, but you kind of gravitate more towards your own style of beats. Again, well produced, you know, I mean, I can hear he knows what he's doing. It definitely doesn't sound shabby, doesn't sound amateurish. So big up yourself, DC. Keep them coming, man. Right, next up we've got James C. Darling II, and again, this is just straight Flip It 48. So let's see what James has brought to the table.
The pad bank.
Drop that.
The pad bank.
Are you ready?
The pad bank. The pad bank.
Okay, so that was James C. Darling II. Yeah, James, what I would say is the drums, man. You need to strengthen them drums, get them drums really banging, and also tighten up. For me, the sequencing needed to be tighter. There was times where, you know, I mean, you could hear it rolling and it kind of skipped slightly, like it didn't roll bang on the bar or the beat. So, you know what I mean, it was a good effort, definitely a good effort. But like I said, for me, you'd have to tighten it up, man. You'd really have to tighten that up. I don't know whether, you know what I mean, you was purposely going for that unquantized sound, but even if you're not going to go down that quantized route, it's gotta be on point, man. You know what I mean, in terms of the way the sequence rolls over to the next sequence. As soon as I hear a skip or I hear something that's slightly off beat, you know what I mean, it gives me that impression that it needed to be worked on a bit more. So like I said, big up yourself for submitting every time. It was a good effort. But I think in this, so far, you know what I mean, out of all 5 tracks, it wasn't really a standout track. But yo, keep on coming, man. Keep working and get your head down, you know what I mean, and work on just perfecting your craft. Definitely easy for me as well. I'm not going to knock anyone. I'm not going to diss anybody's work. You know what I mean? Everyone is where they're at in terms of their production journey. You know, I could play some beats that I've probably made last year that you might say, that's whack. But it's all part of the process. And again, that's another thing I want to say in terms of this Flip It challenge. It's not about trying to make the perfect beat. It's about giving producers in the forum, in the community, the opportunity to always be working on something. You know, a lot of people, you know, they struggle finding samples, finding you know, something that excites them, finding that motivation, that creative spark where, you know, when every single week there's a new sample being put out there and the challenge is being posted, you've always got something to work on. So you're always sharpening your craft, and then obviously posting it in the group, you get feedback. So yeah, I am never going to diss anybody's work. I'm just going to say, yo, just you know what I mean, tweak this, focus on that, fix that. I ain't the best producer in the world, far from it. You know what I mean, I'm still perfecting my craft, but I know I've got a good ear. I've been in the game for some time. You know what I mean, I've got some years behind me, so I can definitely say, bam, tweak that, change that, etc. So yeah, man, let's keep it moving. So next we got my man Break Loose, BRKLS, which I know is Break Loose. This guy's definitely a seasoned producer. You know what I mean, every time he submits, he either wins or he's close to winning. He definitely knows his stuff, so I'm looking forward to hearing what Break Loose brings to the table. So let me just crank up this volume from now, and let's see what Break Loose has got. So it's his first MV8000 beat. So obviously he's just got some new kit. He's got the MV8000. This is the first beat he's made on that. So yeah,
The pad
let's go.
bank.
So this is Break Loose on the MV8000.
The pad bank. The pad bank.
So that was my man Break Loose, and like I said, you can tell, you know, he's a seasoned producer. Definitely got some skills. And this is the first beat he's made on his new piece of kit, the MV8000. Yeah, definitely a solid beat. What I would say, it's not one of his best. He submitted some bangers previously, a couple flip-its back. You know, he was consistently like in the running for being a winner or winning. But yeah, big up yourself, Break Loose. I know you're doing your thing. I know you're serious about your production, man. So yeah, always appreciate your submissions. Big up yourself. I ain't really got much more to say about that. You know what I mean? You've done your thing. Solid beats. Can't really critique it too tough. So yeah, just big up yourself. Keep banging and keep them coming. Right. So what we now? We're up to this will be number 7. So we got 7, 8, 9, 10. We got 11 total. So yeah, got 5 left. And this is Dan73. Again, I think Dan is a new member. I don't recognize the name, Dan73, and his track is called The Rhythm. So again, let me crank this up and let's see what Dan is saying.
The pad bank.
If you know like I know, the rhythm is the bass and the bass is the treble. If you know like I know, you don't wanna step to this. And life is rhythm. If you know like I know, step to this. If you know like I know, step to this. If you know trouble. If you know like I know, you don't wanna step to this.
The pad bank.
Okay, so that was The Rhythm by Dan73, and I think I know who Dan is. I think Dan is a member who is constantly reaching out for, you know, advice and guidance. He's a new producer. If I'm right, yeah. What I will say, Dan, it's great to see you submitting. You know, there's a lot of members who they don't submit, so it's great to see you submitting. Feedback, what I would say about that is, the first thing that jumped out to me is your drums sounded a bit hollow. You know, the kick drums sounded a bit hollow, man. Obviously, I've got headphones on. I'm listening to this through headphones, not through my monitors. But compared to the rest of them, I've heard, you know, the mix sounded a bit hollow. And I'm not here to, because I've had people feedback on my beats, you know, and what they're focused on is the mix rather than the beat itself. And for me, I don't really get too sucked into the mix because I'm a producer. I'm not an engineer. You know what I mean? My focus is on making the beats, making the track, making the song. And then my understanding of the way the studio works and my experience is someone will then come in and mix and master the beat or the song. So I don't really get too caught up and spend too much time in the mix. As long as my drums are knocking and, you know what I mean, everything's balanced, that's fine for me. The next stage will be once a track has been recorded, then you go to mixing, then you go to mastering. So I don't really get caught up in all that. But what I will say straight away, listening to that, you know what I mean, Dan, get your drums sounding nice and bassy, nice and banging, man. That, you know, it was lacking some bass, some boom. Your kicks were lacking some boom. And the other thing I will say is, if you're going to use vocal samples in your tracks, then, you know, really make sure they're landing, you know what I mean, the timing's right. There's nothing worse. I remember when I used to DJ, and there's nothing worse than when you're mixing an a cappella with an instrumental and creating your own remix. There's nothing worse than when it goes off and it's off slightly. You know what I mean? I would work tirelessly to make sure that thing is bang on, like it sounds like the guy is spitting to that track. So if you are going to use vocal samples in your production, make sure they're on point, man. Get your timing right, get them really, really tight. But yeah, like I said, Dan, you know what I mean? If it's the right Dan, Dan73, I know, you know, you're always wanting to improve. You've said, you know, you're a new producer, you're new to the MPC game, etc. You know, so even just for you to submit, big up yourself, much respect, and keep on coming, man. Get your head down and just keep working that craft. We're all trying to improve. So yeah, big up yourself.
The pad bank.
Okay, next up is track number 8, and it's by Ellie. Now, Ellie is, I think, the only female producer in the group. And like I said, we've got over 400 members, and I believe that she's the only female producer. I always love it when Ellie submits, because she always brings something different. She always brings something a little bit left field. So I'm looking forward to hearing what she's brought this week. Big up yourself, Ellie. Let me crunk this up and let's check this out.
The pad bank.
Okay, so that was Gitary Risk Game from Ellie. Like I said, she's the only female producer in the community out of 400 members, and as I mentioned, she always brings something left field. So big up yourself, Ellie. Yeah, man, I always appreciate your submissions. Kind of minimalist. That's the first thing I will say. It's kind of a minimalist sound, you know, with the drums. There's no hi-hats, there's no percussion in there. But yeah, man, it's, you know, I mean, it's something different, definitely. What I will say as well with Ellie is she always gets her sound right. You know what I mean? It always sounds right. She knows her sound, you know what I mean, and she brings it. She's just working on her game. So big up yourself again. Well produced, nice beats. Not really my style, but yeah, you know, big up yourself, and yeah, keep on coming, man. Keep working on your craft. Right. So next up is my man Ziggie Wonder, and again, Ziggie is from what I believe is a seasoned producer. Again, he always brings something competitive to the table. So yeah, let's go straight into this. Ziggie Wonder, and this is, I can't even pronounce it. I think it's just the name of the track, or the name of the sample. So I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. But yeah, this is Ziggie's submission for the Flip It Challenge.
The pad bank.
Równy metrem młodych serc.
Ziggie Wonder, like I said, he always brings something of quality to the competition, and he hasn't failed us again there. Definitely, you know, from my perspective, he's up there, you know, for the running in terms of a potential winner. Always, anytime he enters as a potential winner. Again, with this, it's difficult, you know, it's difficult to critique, because I'm a man, I like creativity, I like to hear something different, but because it's the same sample, you know what I mean, we've just heard, what, 9 tracks, 9 beats, all using the same sample, and you know, it's hard to hear something. I haven't really heard anything different. You know, as soon as it comes in, it's like, okay, I kind of know where this is going to go, but I'm not taking anything away from any of the beats that have been played so far. You know, it's not to take away from them, but it's like, once I've heard the first kind of 4 bars, it's like, okay, I can kind of see where this is going to go. For me, I like to hear something a bit offish, you know what I mean, a bit just creative. But yeah, Ziggie, big up yourself again. Big beats, the drums were banging, you know, well, always tight drums, you know, good sounds, good choice of drum sounds. So yeah, big up yourself. Right, next up is Melun Dank. Now, it's episode number 1 of the Pad Bank podcast. I need to tell you about Melun. Melun, once this guy joined the group and started getting involved in the Flip It Challenge, the man was just on a straight winning streak. It was like Usain Bolt, you know what I mean? Once you see his entry come in, you know, oh, here we go. Melun's playing, and he listen, the guy raised the bar immediately. You know, I think he joined the group a couple months in, and his first entry was like bam, raised the bar straight away. And there was, I mean, at one point it was like week after week after week after week he was winning. It's definitely a seasoned producer. I know he's working on projects. He's definitely bringing something of quality to the forum, to the community. So I'm excited to hear this. Let's hear what Melun has brought this week. Let's check it out.
The pad bank.
A tych, których nie ma.
The pad bank. The pad bank.
Alright, that's my man Melun Dank. What do you think, people? What do you think? Yeah, you can tell he's got some experience behind him. I always love what he submits. Again, he ain't let us down. You know what I mean? Another well-produced beat. Not one of his best entries, to be honest. You know, there's sometimes I'm just have to hold my head. I'm like, whoa, this guy's killing it. You know, that one sounds a bit straight. You know, just kind of just straight. You know what I mean? Nothing too up there, nothing too exciting, just bam, here you go. Here's a nice straight beat for you. But yeah, big up yourself, Melun. He's one of the producers that I definitely want to interview and speak to further. I want him to come on the podcast and share his experience, share his story, tell us a bit about, you know, the equipment he uses, tell us about his process. So look out for him. I definitely want to get him on and have an in-depth spotlight on him and what he does. So big up yourself, Melun. Right, last but not least is my man Swoop Vega. And again, Swoop's another one. He always brings something interesting to the table. So let's crank this up and let's hear what Swoop Vega is submitting for the Flip It Challenge number 48.
The pad bank.
Rappers don't need skills to build so they don't really know. Hear me, yo. I'm 4 times on Arsenio. Got 10 videos, but does that help me flow? No. That's why when you come to the show, MCs act like they don't know. Cause they were too young to rock up in the disco. Frisco disco, the disc is like an Nabisco. Chocolate chip
The pad bang.
Alright, so that was my man Swoop Vega. And you can hear what he's done there. He's basically incorporated a track from KRS, an acapella from KRS. And yeah, just to give it a bit more life, to kind of, you know what I mean, bring his beat to the forefront, with the addition of vocals on there. So yeah, it's a good beat, man. Definitely, I like that one. Sounds solid. But again, what I would say is, if you're gonna put an acapella on it, it's gotta be bang on, man. Like, I'm listening to that and I can hear it's an acapella on a beat. It's not hand in glove, you know what I mean? And to me, sometimes that spoils it. You know, it's nice to hear the vocals on there, you know what I mean? I wanted to hear it all the way through. But if it's not hand in glove, sometimes it does spoil it. But definitely can't take nothing away from the beat. Definitely a good effort. So yeah, big up yourself, Swoop Vega. So my friends, that's all of them. That's all of the submissions for this week's Flip It Challenge, Flip It number 48. So we had 11 submissions. So before I announce the winner, or tell you who the winner was, what do you think? You know what I mean? What are your thoughts? Who do you think should have won? I will tell you. Let me just go to the post and just check to see who did win. Okay, so the winner was Iconic Music. So it was the first beat I played. We'll just run it again in the background. Let's start it back from the beginning. So this is a winning beat. It was my man Iconic Music. I'm saying my man, could be a female, I don't know. Yeah, Nico, I believe is a new member of the group.
The pad bang.
So this is a winning beat for this week. Big up yourself, Iconic Music. Definitely well produced, very smooth. But what did you think? I'd like to hear, in whatever platform you're listening to this on, whatever platform you're consuming this, just jump in the comments, or you know what I mean, comment somewhere and let me know who you thought the winner should have been. If you agree with the winning, with the choice. And again, like I said, I don't choose who wins. You know what I mean? It's the community that votes. So Iconic Music got the most votes this week. And also, you know what I mean, obviously I've given my 2 pence or pennies worth of inputs on all the beats. Did you agree, disagree, you know what I mean, with anything I've said? Let me know, man. Jump in the comments and let me know. So yeah, man, that's kind of it, really. You know what I mean? The first episode of the Podbank podcast with me, Tony Brown. Focus really this week was on the Flip It Challenge. But like I said, you know, as the weeks go by, as the episodes build up, I plan to, you know what I mean, interview group members, interview producers, and just get some more, you know what I mean, some more valid or valuable content with regards to production. You know what I mean, I have got an idea in terms of listening to a classic track and really breaking it down, finding a sample. Just loads of things, you know what I mean, loads of things I'd like to talk about, loads of things I'd like to involve. But yeah, listen, the Pad Bank, if you don't already know, and if you haven't already done so, come and check out the Pad Bank. Like I said, it's a forum of over 400 active. I mean, you've heard what's been presented today. some of the quality of the beats, come and join the forum, and just go to thepadbank.com and click to apply. It is a closed group, you know what I mean. You would have to answer a few questions before you're granted access to the group. And yeah, just come and get involved, man. Get involved in the Flip It Challenge. Come and, you know what I mean, learn from others. You can encourage and support other group members. Yeah, it's all about the pad bank right now. So on that note, we're going to end this episode here, and I will see you again in another episode. All the best, God bless, and take care.
The pad bank. 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 The pad bank.